So yeah, Mike, do you want to, I guess, tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah. Who here doesn't know me, first of all? Okay. Anyway, so basically, yeah, I'm based out of London. I'm a wholesaler full time. I'm on Matt McKeever's team, and he's been mentoring me for the past year. I'm part of the Cash Flow Tribe Council. Basically, I started out in real estate when I was, I started because I did renovations before, and started really getting back pain and things like that. So I figured I got to figure out a way to make some money without hurting myself, right? So
25
naturally, real estate worked out for me, and I asked these guys, Jeff Weibo and Matt McKeever, if I could move in with them and work for free for them for quite some time, and it really worked out in my favor. I read in several books that a lot of really successful people worked for free for their first mentors, and that's how they took off in their career. So I said, what the hell, why don't I do that? And then, yeah, I just started doing some stuff in real estate, and then wholesaling just made sense because I have a background in sales as well. And yeah, I've just had like really good success in it in my first year.
Also then you already come with a sales background. Yeah, that's really nice. That must help a lot to get started quicker.
Yeah, I did door-to-door sales for 2 years for ADT security, home security, and then for Bell Canada. So it was simple home products, and it got me very used to talking to homeowners, and as well as like taking no's all day long, right? So we get a lot of no's and fuck offs in wholesaling, so worked out in my favor.
Yeah, I guess in wholesaling, it's also that, right? Having to kind of get a tougher skin and accepting people saying no or whatever, or maybe being rude or something.
Yeah, and at the same time, it's like when you go for the close in sales, I mean, you gotta, it's the same thing as presenting an offer. You're taking that step, and if you don't do that with confidence, they can feel that and they can see that, and they know that what you're presenting them isn't a good offer or something. But when you present it with confidence, you make them feel comfortable about it. So, I mean, if you haven't done sales, that's at least practicing, and you're putting out offers, constantly putting out offers to get comfortable with it, right?
Okay, so let's start with the first question, and I guess let's just start with the basics. I guess, what are your steps that you do for wholesaling to get like from beginning to end?
Yeah, so it starts with marketing, direct marketing to direct or indirect marketing, but I currently only use their direct marketing. So I send out flyers. Some people use Facebook ads and things like that to generate leads. And then when you get those leads, you have to convert them into walkthroughs, whether it's virtual or in person. So you go walk through their house. And then after you walk through their house, you collect all the data, you put it onto a spreadsheet or however you want to organize it. It's best to be organized, because if you don't organize, you try to keep it all in your mind, it gets really messy. And then after you have that organized, you create an offer after you analyze the comparables and things like that. And after the offer is presented, usually it's pending for a day or so. Sometimes you can close them on the spot. After it's pending, you're going to want to, or once you get it closed, then you need to do marketing again on the assignment side. So I'm going to send it out to my email list. I'll post it on my Instagram. Lately, I've just been making a couple phone calls, and I can assign deals that way. That's why you maybe don't see. Oftentimes, you guys don't see my deals come through my email list because they don't even make it there. Because I've built good enough relationships with good enough buyers that I can just make a phone call and have the thing assigned. Like, for example, yesterday, I locked up a contract, got in my car, drove down the road. It took me about 15 minutes to assign a deal. So that's my best way of doing it. And then after it's assigned, you have to babysit the process, make sure everyone has their insurance, all like the lawyers are paid and stuff like that with the deposits, and just making sure everything goes smoothly, especially right now when we started getting into this quarantine, we basically had a tough time closing on time because businesses and lawyers were still adjusting to their new processes. Now I feel they've kind of gotten good, like a good process in place, and we've been able to close on time mostly for the past few deals. And then, yeah, so babysitting, and then it's the close, right? So typically before the close, I'll take a 50% non-refundable deposit when they sign the paperwork to assign it. And that makes sure I don't have a missed opportunity cost, because if they don't have any skin in the game at the beginning of the deal, it's very easy for them just to back out if they see a new deal that they want, kind of thing. But once they have $10,000 non-refundable, it's hard for them to just let that go most times, right? So yeah, 50% non-refundable, and then when it closes, we take the next half.
Okay, that makes sense. That's a good idea.
Yeah.
Also, or does anyone have a question? I feel like there's a lot more wholesalers that probably would have lots of questions. Do you guys have any questions yet related to wholesaling? Or
I just have one personal question for him. And my question will be, what will be for you, or in the entire process, the most challenging part of the process for wholesaling?
Yeah, good question, Juan. There's different challenges with every deal. And sometimes it's honestly disposition, because not every deal is a slam dunk, right? So when they're not slam dunks, like, you really need to focus on getting that deal in someone else's hand, or like assigning that deal, right? So that's been a challenge of mine. That's why I've been trying to really, I think of who are my best buyers and what price do they buy at? What kind of a discount do they really like? And that's what I base my offers off of. So that way, if I can offer and get it at that price, I know it's going to be an easy close afterwards. At the end of the day, too, putting out offers daily, whether it's 1 or 2 or 3, I currently do 2 offers a day, 7 days a week. So it's like 14 offers a week. That's not always easy, especially if you're not generating enough leads. So just keeping on track for putting out offers and making sure your marketing is going through on time. So again, marketing, putting out offers, and deal disposition is usually like the biggest challenges for me.
Got it. Thank you, Mike.
so when you do your first call, what is like your objective when you receive your first call or make your first call? Like, what do you expect to have done, or how is your process for the first call?
Like the initial contact with the lead?
Yeah.
Yeah, so when they call, I typically qualify them, make sure they're the homeowner, find out why they want to sell. And then we just get into some conversation. I try to build a bit of rapport right at the beginning. And then I tell them, I have a list of questions here. It's just going to help me with understand the age of materials and equipment in the house. After that, we're going to want to book a walkthrough together so I can see this house in person. And then, so yeah, I just I go through all the questions. I have a spreadsheet with like 20 questions on it, and we go through those, they answer them all. And then at the end of those questions, I always make sure to ask them, so in a perfect world, if we can agree on a price, what day do you want to move out? Like, when do you want the closing date to be? And they tell me that, so I know how kind of motivated they are, how quick they need this deal to go. And then, because I'm not going to say, what's your motivation to sell this house, right? I'll ask them why you're selling this house, but they don't always tell you like the good stuff. So, and then of course I ask them, in a perfect world, what is going to make this a successful exit for you? How much money do I need to pay you for this to be a success in the end? And then that way they can tell me their perfect asking price. And then sometimes they don't give it to me, and I just ask them like 5 times until they give it to me. I'll just reword it, and I'll just keep pushing until I get that price.
Anyone else have any questions? Yes? No? So I guess my next question would be, we always talk about the purchase agreement and, how to structure it in the clauses, but something I feel like that always gets missed is the assignment agreement. And I'm curious to hear, like, do you put clauses in there, or is it very basic, or what is your assignment agreement to the person that purchases your assignment?
Well, I mean, I have the what's it called? I have the contract already negotiated with the seller. and I'm essentially just negotiating that contract. So once I assign the deal, I waive all conditions on the first contract with the seller. So that means that my financing, inspection, and my assignment and my walkthroughs, I'm waiving all of those so that the seller knows that they're in a firm deal at that point. And then on the assignment, I guess the only difference for mine is that I do a 50% non-refundable deposit. So that's what makes it safe for me, right? But assignments I'm essentially just putting on paper that this is now your contract.
That it's not what, sorry?
I'm just putting on paper that it's essentially their contract now.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so your assignment is very simple then, and then I guess it just shows the structure of like how much you're paying or how much you got it for and what your assignment fee is, and then just the total, I guess. Really basic.
Yeah. So, and then usually we pay our deposits to the lawyer. So the deposit with the agreement of purchase and sale. So usually I just do $500. I pay it to my lawyer, and then at the end of the deal, that gets paid back out to me, it goes toward the sale of the house, and the assignee will give me the deposit that I put down back. So it's my initial assignment fee plus the deposit. So if it's 10K, they'll give me 10,500 just to cover that deposit.
Okay.
So the reason I give it to my lawyer is because we have a lot of assignments out right now, and at any given time, we have a lot of deposits in trust accounts, right? So if I have them at 5-10 different lawyers, I'm like, it gets really messy, right? And most people don't have a problem with that unless they're a realtor, because realtors tend to do it the opposite way, where it goes into the seller's lawyer. But we just explain it to them, and usually they have no problem with dealing with that.
And like, have you ever lost any deals because they didn't like that? For example, you're giving your deposit to your lawyer, or have you ever given in fine, you give it to their lawyer, or are you like really firm with that?
No, like if that's gonna kill the deal, it's $500. Like if I for some reason forget where it is, it's not gonna be a big deal. I wouldn't let a deal die over $500.
Yeah, that's true too, actually.
Yeah.
So does anyone have any questions?
I have another one.
Yeah.
Okay.
So when you said that you waive your conditions when you did the assignment to the other person, you did that because you are trying to remove these conditions to the assignment, or is because at the end the other person, your assignee, he won't have the conditions to operate as well. He has to go firm, right?
Yeah, my assignees all have to go firm. I'm not like you can get an inspection, but between that time and between the time you decide to get an inspection and it gets done and then you try to make a decision, 9 times out of 10 the deal's already gone.
Yeah, you don't want to give them
deals for anybody.
Yeah, you don't want to give them an exit opportunity, I guess.
No, it's just because I only have 10 business days to assign each deal.
Yeah.
And when I give someone 4 or 5 of those 10 business days, like it's just a huge waste of time when they say no, I can't do it, right?
Yeah.
I'm never going to hold a deal for someone just because they want an inspection. If they know it's a good deal, they'll buy it.
Gotcha. Got it.
So
yeah.
So either you're in or you're out.
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah.
So are they all purchasing sight unseen in that case?
No, not always. There's a lot of investors that do, but if I have several people that want to walk through the property, I think that's fair, and I totally agree with that. And we'll all go at once, so we don't have to have 5 different walkthroughs, because I'm not a realtor. I'm not spending my time doing walkthroughs with people and showing houses. I'm just if you want to come look at it, we're all doing it the same day, and whoever makes the decision fastest pretty much gets it.
Okay,
yeah,
so
then, oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Go on, Vic.
Yeah, so no, just to reiterate, you're doing one group showing within your due diligence period.
Pretty much, yeah. And oftentimes we don't even do that because we don't have to. Typically, I get good enough deals that they don't have to be. They just know the numbers work, and it's a boxed on land. Like, what are you going to lose, right? The deal's good enough, the numbers make sense. You just account for worst case scenario every time, and and usually you're good to go.
So, but when people are coming in to see the place, if you get to that point, they haven't signed anything though, yeah, right? But then after that, they would go in firm, right?
Yeah, whenever they make a decision to sign the paperwork, they're going firm, and that's non-negotiable.
Mm-hmm.
Because if I'm waiving my conditions on my original purchase and sale agreement, and then the assignee decides to back out of a firm agreement on my end, then I'm stuck with a deal that potentially I don't want, right?
Have you ever had that situation happen to you? I don't know if someone else spoke.
No, because I don't allow it to happen, right?
No, I meant
I make
if
sure
someone
to-
went firm, have you ever had it that they still drop out for some reason?
No, because I just babysit the process. I just make sure everything's in place, and if they feel unsure after they've signed paperwork, I make sure that I just get them back on their comfort level and back into their realistic thinking of like why they actually signed the paper in the first place. So it's just sometimes you have to repaint the picture for them because they talk to a friend or they talk to a spouse or they get cold feet after they've signed the deal. But I mean, when a deal's signed, right? I make that clear to them. Like, for example, when I was in sales, it was really easy to lock up a deal, but then they had until the installation date to cancel the contract. And most of my office that I worked in, they had like 40-50% success rate, and mine was in the 80s and 90s every time, and everyone was so shocked, like how do you keep all these things? And I don't tell them that they can back out, and I just make it clear to them that like, okay, we're gonna be installing this on Monday. Make sure and it's just like you never use words that tell them like feel free to exit at any point kind of thing. Like, you know what I mean? And like at the end of the day, if the deal's good and you're making them comfortable about it, if you're getting good deals, people won't be backing out.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I guess it's like being positive and stuff and just giving more positive words than because I think that would probably scare them out, I guess, if you say like, oh, you have time to back out. Be like, why should I be thinking about backing out? Is there something wrong with this?
Yeah, like you're not ever really going to say that, but I mean, it goes back to being confident about the deal. Like when you're like, are you sure like this is what you want to do? Like just be confident, sign the deal on the spot kind of thing.
Yeah, definitely being confident, I think, is key to sales.
Yeah, absolutely.
So does anyone else have any other wholesaling questions?
I've got a couple.
Sure.
Does anybody else want to go real quick or?
No, go Vince.
No? Okay, so I'll ask a tactical one first, just about that 50% non-refundable deposit. So You're closing an assignment, you're using Form 100, and let's say you put in a $100 deposit. Now it's locked in firm. You have your conditional period. On the assignment, so you're going to waive your conditions, and then on the assignment, which is, I believe, 145, Form 145.
Yeah.
Is that the one where in the deposit section you'll put $10,000 non-refundable, payable by your assignee?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so that was my technical question.
Yep.
And then, so you mentioned, some of your deals aren't always slam dunks. So in the past, I've had properties where I picked them up at 60 cents on the dollar, and those, it's like you don't even have to market those. When someone sees it, they're ready to close quickly, sight unseen. So right now I'm working on two that are closer to about 90 cents on the dollar. So I kind of just lock them up to get in the rhythm, right? But do you have a system or a process now where you can work on the disposition? Are you hitting up your email list first and then Facebook and then just cold calling realtors, or what's that look like for you if it's, let's say, 90 cents on the dollar?
Yeah, when the deals aren't as easy to assign, like the process it is a process. So we have our email list that gets sent out first. That's our deploying our first soldiers, I guess you can say. And then the next step will be put it on Facebook groups. Like there's Luke Boyan's group or Boyron, whatever his last name is. And then the off-market deals one in here that we use with Cashflow Tribe. And then any group that you can put deals just put them all in, right? Make sure you add some details, and then of course I put it on my Instagram story. I put it on I go on like so Facebook groups, Instagram stories, and then I personally will call people, or I'll send out text blasts. That way, like I haven't experimented too much with text blasts of my top buyers, and then I'll call them and kind of send the deal manually. And I'll just find out like what's holding you back from this deal, like versus the last one, kind of thing, and you just get a better idea of where people are at.
Okay.
And it's just doing those things daily, right? So if on the email services you can see who didn't open them, and you can resend it to them. And then there's the ones that on Instagram, like Instagram stories last 24 hours. You got to be posting them every day, right? Once a day, and making sure to tag some people in it so they reshare it and things like that. So we do that through our team, and we have like 7 guys on our team, and we just all reshare it so it gets into the eyes of more people. Because not everyone watches my stories. That will watch Adam's stories or Shahir's stories and things like that, right?
Okay.
A lot of my deals come from Instagram, to be honest.
Right. So you're heavily relying on your network. Have you ever thought about, is it possible even to like list an assignment sale on, let's say something like Purple Bricks or some sort of, online platform like that?
I think that's kind of fucked up to do that. Like at the end of the day, like we're not realtors, and that's almost like breaching the line of like brokering real estate without a license. I wouldn't dip my toes in that. Maybe people have it, maybe it works, but that's a fine line to walk on.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So when you get to positions where you're not seeming to get the sale, like do you ever partner up with other wholesalers or groups that, maybe make the sale?
Yeah, I mean that's a great idea. In fact, that's why I started the Ontario Wholesalers group, so that if there are deals that are harder for me to assign, or vice versa, where there's people that need to assign their deals and maybe they don't have as big of a list or big of a network, we can share deals, and that's perfectly fine, right? As long as we at the end of the day we're making money together. Like this is like scratch my back, I'll scratch yours type of business, right? The moment you help someone, they're going to help you in the future at some point. Even if you just help them find a buyer and you didn't really do a whole lot of work, just give it to them, right? Who cares? You'll get your own deals. But oftentimes, like me and Dave Shapiro, he found a deal, I closed it up, and then we couldn't assign it because it wasn't the greatest deal in the world. But in fact, it was actually a pretty damn good deal. The cash flowed good, and it was cheap as hell. But it seems like when deals are too cheap, people are scared of them for some reason.
What about like setting like that? Like for example, Vince was saying like the one you sign is like 90 cents on the dollar. Like, do you have any techniques for making people, feeling like seeing that their numbers, are unrealistic, and trying to, make them realize that they need to lower their price?
Like for sellers,
Sorry, can you say that again? It cut out.
or for. Are you talking like that the seller's asking price is unrealistic, or that the wholesalers
The sellers.
didn't get a good
The
enough
sellers is unrealistic.
Yeah, oh yeah, that happens all the time, right? So I'll just straight up show them comparables, and I'll literally backtrack. I say, if I'm flipping this house, like this is what it's going to cost me. This is how long I'm going to have the loan for. And these are my holding costs. This is what you already told me what the insurance and the property taxes are, all that stuff. And then it's really easy to just like lay it out for them. And if you have to do that in person or share screen with them and just show them, like it's a lot more valuable to give them a visual versus just saying it, because anyone can say anything, but if you give them a visual, they can see it. And everybody is a different learner. Some people actually have to do things. Some people can hear things. Some people have to see things. So I just try to do it in multiple different ways to make whoever my seller is understand the process. And then usually it's just making them comfortable. At the end of the day, it's their decision. I don't have a gun to their head. And I'm super indifferent that way too. It's like, I don't need to buy your house, man. If you want it to work for me, I'm a business. At the end of the day, I have to get these things under market value for it to make sense. If you want, I can get you a realtor that can get you your higher price. And sometimes that happens. And I build really good relationships with realtors because I send them a ton of leads.
Yeah, that's really good. That's something, yeah, something that I've also done. I just send whenever I get stuff that I don't need, I just kind of send it off to other people because at least they'll use it, and then hopefully in the future they hit me back with something that may be helpful for me.
Yeah.
Does anyone else have any
Yeah,
other
and
questions?
they will usually, like, and what's most helpful for me is like with my realtors, when I call them, they pick up my phone call every time. That's because I treat them very well. I buy them things, and I give them leads and stuff like that. And then whenever I call them, they pick up their phone because they know I'm either asking them a question that's going to get them closer to money, or they're actually just getting a lead from me. So
Yeah, makes sense.
and people like to share. Like if it's a knowledgeable realtor, they just straight up like to share.
Yeah.
Usually realtors with YouTube channels are the best ones. They like to help.
Yeah, they understand that. I think like social media and all that and connecting community, they understand that a lot more than I feel like the old school realtors.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, like I'm not talking to realtors that don't involve or that aren't involved in the investment side of things. So you got to know like how many properties do you own, or do you own any properties? Have you ever flipped properties? Because like it's a waste when they don't. Like they just don't understand it, and like they think you're going to be loyal to them when like typically like I talk to like a bunch of realtors, right? Because like I'm not just loyal to one realtor, and they know that, right?
Yeah, I noticed that happens too. There's some realtors that are they want you exclusively, and I'm
Yeah,
like, I'm
and
sorry, that can't happen.
and they get you to sign BRAs and buyer representation agreements, and it's like for a month for any property in the city. It's like, come on, man, that's never gonna happen. Like I'm not a first-time home buyer, and we're not gonna go walk around 25 properties for me to make a decision. Yes, I'll be putting out a lot of offers with you if we're doing MLS offers, and yes, I'll be asking you a lot of questions. But if you want to have a real relationship, this is my value, and if you want it, take it. If not, I'm gonna call someone else.
Yeah. So does anyone else have any other questions? No other questions? So when you said about let's say partnering up with someone else to help do the deal, do you do you give them like a pay cut, or is it more like a favor for the future?
Yeah, if someone is truly like, if they find the assignee and they do the work and stuff like that, we're just going 50-50 on the assignment fee. Oftentimes like people will like, I'll just pitch it to, like I haven't done enough JVs to have like enough data on that, to be honest. So it's just like I could see the value in just helping them out and doing it for free or whatever, and getting that back in the future. Or when we do split a deal, like if someone's truly doing the work and putting it out there and getting the assignee, okay, why wouldn't I pay them half? It's better than nothing, right?
Yeah. So I guess it depends on the person you're talking to deciding how you decide to maintain that relationship, I guess.
Yeah, and like for example, I think Susan's on the call, and she had a deal in Fort Erie, and she asked me to put it out to my list or whatever, and then I'm sure she did that with a couple other people, and that's the way to do it. I think get it into the hands of more people that can spread it out to their lists, right? Because we don't all have the same buyers on our lists, so it's just a good idea to just kind of get it out there, and obviously tell them like, hey man, like I'm sending this out to a few different people, so they don't get mad at you, but you're like, because like if you tell them versus not, like sometimes people actually get frustrated with that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah.
And Diana, like as a money lender, I'm sure you can understand that too. If people like, if you're ready to pull the trigger on a deal and someone's like, oh, I already got the money, then you're like, well, fuck off, right?
Yeah.
Like I did a bunch of work to get to this point, and now, but like if you know that, like, hey, I'm gonna be firing this off to a few different people, like just setting expectations that way.
Yeah, makes sense. Like it's like as until you're waiting, or at least like you said on a lending sense, that as long as you're not firm, and then the person is still like, oh, I'm looking in other places. Like it shouldn't matter. Like you can send it to a lot of people, but once you decide to go firm or you've made a decision, it's kind of like, okay, you've made a decision. You can't be now wavering all over the place, because that's kind of annoying to people.
Yeah, for sure.
Anyone
we just
else
wanna,
have any other questions? I'm surprised that Susan isn't asking questions. I feel like she always puts in her 2 cents on something.
laugh out loud.
Yeah. maybe she's I don't know, working or something, can't be talking.
Probably closing deals right now.
Yeah, Susan is like always on the go. And same with
And
you. I feel like a lot of us are always on the go.
yeah, and like the good thing, that one thing I like about Susan is that she asks every question she has, and that's perfectly fine. A lot of people will just like give up because they don't want to ask questions, or maybe they think it's stupid or stuff like that. And but like, how are you gonna get better if you don't answer your own questions, right?
Yeah.
Or you get your questions answered. Susan does that all the time.
Yeah. Or sometimes I feel like with me at least, I mean, now I've gotten better, but sometimes you don't even know you have a question because you make an assumption, and you make that assumption, and then because a mistake happens, then you're like, oh, that should have been a question. You know, like, why did I make that assumption? You know, and
Yeah.
it's just like you feel like the regular world is like this, so you automatically make these assumptions and have to realize, like, I should just think as a dumb person, like, I don't know anything, and always ask a question, because my thinking is different than yours, than everyone else's, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Like I was always, I literally always get called out for asking stupid questions. But like, it's not every question is going to be a good question, right? It's kind of like putting out offers. Not every offer is going to be good, but you're going to get some. And like, I mean, I just ask a ton of questions all the time, right?
Yeah, totally.
So I've heard that wholesale deals can sometimes be difficult to get financed, especially since the wholesale fee is not part of the purchase process. How do people get around it?
So I typically make sure my buyers are using private money or B lenders, because they don't really care when it's an assignment. A lenders usually don't like assignments, like you said, but I mean, I know a broker that can, with Scotiabank, that can do assignment deals all day long. There's a couple guys, the Lewis brothers, they've done them several times with A lenders. I mean, it's just, you just have to know your broker well, and make sure you have a good relationship with them and they can get the things done for you. But I typically, like, if there's a buyer that has an A lender versus a buyer that's using private money or B lender, I'm just going to go with the one that's going to be an easier deal.
Who do you work with at Scotia?
Say it again.
Who do you work with at Scotia?
His name is Ahmed. He called me back from one of my marketing campaigns, and I walked through a couple of his properties, and he was like, "Hey man, I'm a mortgage broker," and I was like, "Oh, that's kind of cool. Do you ever do assignments, or have you ever worked with assignments?" He's like, "Yeah, I do them all the time," kind of thing. And I'm like, "Interesting." Yeah, it's just a contact I met from what's it called? He's up in GTA, so I mean, I can get you guys his number if you want him. Just
Yeah,
personally message me.
I'm new to the mortgage business and trying to figure out how to get financing for my clients. So
Yeah, I mean, like, I'm not a mortgage guy, and I'm not going to pretend I know a whole lot about mortgages or the things behind that, because I've Adam Martin, he's on our team, and he covers a lot of that kind of stuff. And I just let those professionals do their job, right?
yeah.
So if you want to get into like mortgage questions, Adam Martin has I think he has like videos about that stuff on Cash Flow Tribe, and yeah, he's a really good guy. He's very knowledgeable with mortgages.
Thanks, Mike.
Yeah.
So anyone else have any other questions?
Just one more for me.
Mm-hmm.
So, Matt promotes you as probably one of the best wholesalers in Canada. So my question for you is, are you just 100% focused on wholesaling, or do you have any other strategies or any other source of income for yourself?
No, that's my active income is wholesaling. I actually don't own any properties because I don't want my properties to be like single family homes and duplexes and stuff like that. So when I start buying properties, it'll be like six units and up kind of thing.
Okay.
Because, and like flips, I've done flips too, because that's a little bit of active income, but when you have such a good momentum when doing one thing, like putting another thing on your plate will take that away. And I've experienced that in the past, and I've had moments where I'm like, fuck, this is such a good deal, I just want to take it myself. But then I think like, okay, if I take this deal, it's going to take me 6 months to flip it, and I'm going to make 60K. Within those 6 months, I could have made literally 250K, right, in assignments. So
Gotcha.
why would I take that time and mental bandwidth to do projects that, unless I cannot say no to it. But oftentimes with those kind of deals, I can just assign for a huge fee and just, it still makes sense for the flipper or the buyer or whatever, right? Yeah, I don't like to have too many projects on the go. But other things I do focus on is like my fitness. So I'm kind of chubby, but I do ride my bike a lot. And when the gyms are open, I have I go to this gym. It costs me I think it's like $200 a month, but they're just like extremely high performing trainers there. And I think that's super important. And then with your mindset, like I'm a Christian, I really try to focus on my faith. And I have a mentor at my church that helps keep me on track that way. So I have like my fitness mentors, I have my real estate mentors, I have my guitar teacher. He helps me he teaches me guitar. I consider him a mentor because he actually like isn't just a teacher. He like really helps me like with my mindset of learning guitar too. So like those kind of things, like if you can get mentored in different parts of your life, it just keeps you on track, right?
Right.
Yeah, definitely. It's so helpful to have mentors because it can always be so easy in certain areas of your life to kind of just fall off track, and you just need that person to like kick your ass and be like, hey, get back on track. And you're like, yes, I know.
Exactly. Like some weeks my guitar teacher's like, hey man, like you're like what's going on, right? And he'll tell me like, you're not doing good this week, or you didn't really have much progress or whatever. And that's just like a simple example of like someone that helps me push me forward. If you're moving forward on all parts of your life, like it's like the compound effect. If you've read that book, like you're just gonna, the next year, the next 5-10 years from now, you're just gonna be a whole different person, right? And then there's the things that you don't focus on, like relationships with family and loved ones and things like that, or business relationships. Like you can't let those things fall apart for the just for the business, you know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, like those things have a lot of mental weight on you, and when you don't have good relationships in your life, I find when I go through those phases, I don't perform well in business either. So I'll straight up take a full day, and I'll fuck off, and I won't talk to anyone except like my loved ones and things. I'll go spend time with them. I'll help my mom at her house or whatever. And that's just fine. Not everyone agrees with me on that. But if I don't do those kinds of things, then I'm not going to be a high performer, right?
Mm-hmm.
Totally.
Yeah, definitely balancing your life and a healthy life and all that is very important to have.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, like it's not that this is my work. Like I'm working to get like to have a better life and things like that, have a good life. But like it's still my life, right? Like my work is my life and my family is my life. There's no like work-life balance. It's just life for me, right? I think you guys have heard that many times from like Matt and Ben and things like that. And that's just how I do it. So like
everyone has their own motivation, right?
yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
So another wholesale question, or does anyone else have any questions?
I was just going to ask what goals are you working on right now? So do you set goals, and then if so, what are they?
Yeah, so I'll set like an annual goal, and then monthly I'll just I'll break those down. So like this month my goal is 100K in assignments. So far I'm at 15K for the month, and it's the 6th day of the month. So I mean I'm not on track, but like or maybe I don't know, I haven't even done the math, but essentially like it's just making sure that you set goals that are backed up by data. So I can't just say, hey, I want to make 100K and then I'll put out 10 offers. I have to see how many offers does it normally take me to get an assignment? What's my average assignment fee? How much marketing do I have to get how many leads, and how many leads does it take to put out how many offers? How many offers does it take to get one deal? How many deals do I need to get to reach that goal? So really try to break it down, and then we just keep each all accountable. So like every day we're asking each other like, how many offers did you put out today, and stuff like that. And then we celebrate the small wins. Every time I have a small win, call up my mentor and say, hey man, small win today, this is what happened, kind of thing. And it's just like, okay, move on. Like, good job, move on. Because it's so easy to have a small success or even a big success and then be like, oh, I did really good today. Now I'm just gonna go fuck off and be a piece of shit, kind of thing. And not focus on the business or not focus on anything. And then 2-3 days passes by because you lose a little bit of momentum. But it's like, no, you did good, move on. It's so easy to just like forget like the time, because like a couple of days in 1 month can take away, that's like a huge percentage of the month and the goal you're working toward, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so goal setting is, very important. I guess it helps you also with the vision and make sure if you're behind, you're just trying to get back on track again, because at least you know what your goals are.
Yeah, and it's really important to track those things too. So like KPIs are key performance indicators. So every day I track how much marketing I sent out, how many offers I put in, how many networking events I went to, how many things, like every task I do, I have like a list of the daily tasks. And if it's a 0, it's a 0. You just put it down. But like, so that way at the end of the month, if you reach your goal, you say, okay, this was a month that I reached my goal and this is what I did. And then when you don't, you're seeing like, where do I need to turn it up to fix that part. So like, if I'm not putting out enough offers, 1, it could be laziness, or 2, it could be just because I didn't have enough leads, right? But if I don't have enough leads, what do I got to do? I got to do more lead generation and put out more marketing, do more walkthroughs, things like that.
Mm-hmm. And
so
for doing
Yep.
more marketing, because you only do the flyers, right? Or do you try to do different kind of marketing if you're not meeting your quota?
Yeah, if my marketing is slow or something, I'll straight up I'll get someone to call a bunch of Kijiji ads for me, or send out like emails. Like I'll just, or I have a bunch of past leads. So past leads work really well for me when things are going slow, because I have all my phone numbers saved to like a CRM, customer relationship management software, and then, or I actually just use a spreadsheet, but then I can go and call them and I say, hey, like, what's changed in your life, kind of thing. I don't say that, but sometimes like if they weren't going to sell a few months ago, now they're ready to work with you, right? Or they know someone, and oftentimes I can pull out like $10,000 to $20,000 from just looking at my old list.
And so or anyone else have any questions? Anyone have a wholesaling question that they want to ask Mike? No, not yet. So, so what would you say, for example, is your niche, or what are different kind of niches that people can do in wholesaling to kind of make themselves, like unique and, I don't know, pick, because it's always talking about picking a niche. So do you have, like, what is yours, and do you have recommendations for, like, I don't know, different kind of niches?
Well, like you can start by a city, right? Like start by a city, send out marketing, and then you find out like what you're good at. Like sometimes I'm good at talking to people that like are older, right? And I do a lot of deals with older people. And like some people will focus straight up on multifamily and they'll just chase after multifamily deals somehow. Some people focus on just straight up land. Like I'm trying to think of what they do in the States, because right in Ontario and stuff like that, like I just kind of, I don't have like a real niche. I just go with what leads come in, and then but like you can niche down to like land, you can niche down to like trailer parks, you can niche down to like people do like new builds, stuff like that. Like, you can do a whole bunch of different things, but in my opinion, like if you're getting started, it's just like work with what you've got, right?
Yeah.
Just make sure you're getting good deals, because like if you're starting out with bad deals and you can't assign like the first few deals, it's gonna be hard for you to build that confidence up, and you're just gonna think to yourself that you suck, and like that's toxic, right? So if you're scared of making an offer to make it a good deal. Like you just got to get over that fear kind of thing. Because I lost my first deal because I didn't negotiate it hard enough, and I got it for too high of a price, and I was like, fuck, like that sucks. Like that was my first deal. I was so excited, and then it kind of like shut me down. So then I just made sure my next deal was I knew the numbers, and I just put in the offer what I needed the offer to be at, and I wouldn't say no to that number.
Mm-hmm.
Because you have your starting offer, and then you have your max allowable offer, right? You never start at the top. Start at the top. It's just like you have no room to negotiate, and if they want a higher price, you don't have room to do that. But if you start low enough, and you can act as if you're negotiating, but you actually have a max allowable offer already in mind. So they feel that you're working with them, and psychologically, people just have an easier time saying yes once you've given them something back. For example, I was talking to my girlfriend yesterday, and we had a little bit of an argument. She's like, Mike, like, you haven't given me anything in this. Like, you're staying firm on your opinion, and you're not giving back at all. And I was like, okay, well, how is this going to work out? Are we just going to stay pissed at each other, or what? And then so I was like, okay, I'll call you back. I'll think about it. And then I thought about it, and then just made some adjustments to my opinion, and it worked out really well, right? And that can go with anything. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. So then, so you think, so with it, so like, how are you saying that for wholesaling?
Yeah. So like again, like if someone has, if they have a house that they want a certain amount for, because I always know what their price is first. Not always, but most of the times I'll know what their price is. And then, what's it called? I give them my offer that works. Like I'll give them my lowest offer, and then they're like, no, like we need to adjust. And I say, okay, well, I'm gonna want to keep your all your appliances then, and I can increase my offer to this, or and then if not, then I'm like, okay, well, I'm gonna need a vacancy to get you up to your price. If I can get up to your price, I'm gonna need a vacancy, or I'm gonna need a vendor take back to get up to that price. So it's like always have different possibilities to increase your offer, and if there is no possibility of vacancies, if there is no possibility of getting free stuff out of it, or if there's no possibility of getting vendor take back or something along those lines, it's just that you still have room to increase your price, and it'll still be a good deal, right?
Yeah.
So I'll usually put like a 10 to 20K cushion for me to negotiate with.
Mm-hmm. And I guess it's just about like that, being creative and trying to figure out what the motivation is, and kind of tweaking it in different ways to still make it happen.
Yeah, like someone the other day, they needed 2 weeks to close, so it was that meant I had to find a buyer and close the deal within 2 weeks, right? And that's not always easy for financing. So I told them, I was like, hey, like that, your price, like I won't be able to do that as easily and comfortably and ensure that your closing date happens. So let's go with this price, and that will be a for sure. I'll be able to make this happen without a doubt, kind of thing. And that just made them comfortable, because their main thing was it has to close on this day. And they knew that if they did that with a realtor, that would never happen. So they had to work privately. And to work privately, I need a big enough discount to make that happen.
Yeah, makes sense.
I have a question. Well, I guess it's a simple one, because there are different wholesalers who will say what their wholesale fee is, and others are not as transparent. Do you normally tell your buyers what your wholesale fee is to sort of have a better relationship with them? Do you find that telling them your wholesale fee will help you establish better relationships with your buyers?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I've thought about it that deeply. It's just like my first deal, I just put my wholesale deal on my wholesale fee on my spreadsheet, and it worked. And so I've just done it ever since then. I don't see the value in hiding that. I don't see what you're like. I don't know what you would be really hiding. And Because like at the end of the day, if you get someone to commit and then they find out your wholesale fee is more cash than they have, then you're just fucking yourself, right?
Exactly. Yes. Yeah.
It's just some people don't post it on like Facebook and stuff like that, but at the end of the day, like the time it takes to answer a bunch of questions and then get to beat around the bush about the wholesale fee, and then for them not to make a decision, like I want them to see the deal right away and be like, oh, I can make that happen with that wholesale fee right away.
Yeah, because there's actually a deal that I was looking at actually from another wholesaler that I'm interested in. And I asked him what the wholesale fee is. And it was like I asked him a very personal question. So,
Yeah.
because if someone asked me and I didn't write it down, because normally I would write down my wholesale fee. And or if I didn't, I would just say what the wholesale fee is if they asked right away, because I feel
was it a wholesale fee or was he double closing it? Like, did he already close on the property and he was just it was a wholesale fee?
Yeah, a wholesale fee. Yeah. No, I do have another situation where I have a property right now in Fort Erie with my realtor, and he's basically he got it under contract for $260, and he's selling it to me for $350.
Yeah.
It's still a disgusting, crazy deal, and I want that property, but he didn't tell me how much he bought it for. I had to ask him, but that's pretty much his wholesale fee.
Yeah, and like I think we were talking about this. I didn't give you a solid answer on that. So in my opinion, if you guys, if you can both get a win out of it, like like, again, if he's making 100K and you can only make 100K on it, then like that's kind of messed up. And at the end of the day, I don't think that the seller is in a good position at that point either. So to be honest, I wouldn't feel good doing that deal because I know the seller's getting fucked.
Yeah.
But like,
it's he closed on it. It's closed. So it's already in his name. So
yeah, so when someone double closes on it, I don't think you have to tell people that how much spread you made on it. I mean, it's really easy to find that out just by saying how much they bought it for.
Yeah, but, if he did not tell me, I would have found out, because I did want to know, because it helps me understand my relationship with him. But regardless, if you don't have to put up the 100K and you can finance that, then that's why not? If you can still make 100K off it, like why wouldn't you? Like, you can. Yeah.
For you to cough up 100K cash plus a down payment plus renovation costs plus all that, and you're still only making as much as he is or she is, it's just like it's kind of sketchy. Like in my opinion, that's kind of sketchy. Like
it's his markup. Like it's not a wholesale fee. It's just because he's a realtor. It's $350 and that's it. I was just surprised that he had paid $260, and that's what I put out into the group. I'm like, oh my god.
Yeah, like if you can still make money with it and finance that, I don't see why you wouldn't. But like, it's still like, again, like whether you want to keep working with him or not, if you think the guy's a scumbag and you just don't want to work with him, don't do the deal with him. If you do want to make that money and say who cares about it, just do it anyways.
This will be the last. Like, I don't want to lose this deal because the house is like, it's massive. It's 2 blocks from the beach. It's crazy. It's still a good deal, but after this, I won't work with him anymore.
And I remember you telling me that he gave you the ARV. I hope you found out the ARV on your own, because he can easily just say, yeah, you can make 100K off this if you do this much renovations, and just for him to get rid of the deal, right?
Yeah, I did. And no, he doesn't want to really get rid of the deal, but I did. I found, and I know the area, so the comps are good. It's a good deal. It's a good deal. Yeah.
Yeah, if you can finance that 100K, then go ahead and do it.
No, it's just $350. Because he closed it, he just wants. It'll just be $350. There's no like separate wholesale fee.
Yeah, so it's financeable.
Yeah.
Why not, right?
Yeah.
At the end of the day, like if he's winning and you're winning, like it's fine. It's just don't be too scarce about that kind of stuff.
No. Yeah. It's the relationship that was important to me, and it was a surprise that he marked it up that much, but he
Well,
found the deal.
if he can mark it up to you or mark it up to someone else, and he can still
He
make the
can.
deal happen without you, then
He can. Yeah.
yeah, I wouldn't take it personally.
No. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we have about 2 minutes left here.
I was just gonna say,
Um,
I wanted to say thank you, Mike, for giving us so much information and helping us out and answering our questions.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. And I enjoy this kind of stuff. I do a little bit of coaching on the side. I guess that's to answer. I think that was Juan's question. Some extra income I do is my coaching. So if anyone wants to reach out to me personally and book an hour session with me, we can do that. But yeah, that's not the reason I'm here. I just like to talk about wholesaling. This is what I do all the time. So when I can talk about wholesaling, it sharpens my saw, and I hope it helps you guys sharpen yours.
Yep. And then soon you can let us know what your YouTube channel will be so we can start following you.
Yeah, I'll get that up this weekend, and I'll likely reach out to all you guys personally to make sure you guys get subscribed.
Totally sounds good.
Thank you, Mike.
Thanks
All
so
right,
much
Mike.
for all your
Thanks, Mike.
help. It was really
Yeah, I
nice seeing
appreciate it.
everyone. Bye, guys.
Thank you, Mike.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Okay.